super welcoming to everybody.
Yeah, facts. All right, Mike.
Check.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Convos with Bishop. My name is Marvel Bishop. You guys know what the deal is. Appreciate everybody for the YouTube viewership, the SoundCloud, everybody who's rocking with us. We are here with another episode with a person that I don't know too well. But I think in this conversation we'll definitely get to that. But at the same time, as soon as we met what, like 6 months? No, a year ago.
About a year ago.
We met about a year ago with shout out to Imani. You guys were working on on his music and all that. And yeah, man, that was actually the first time that we pretty much linked up and saw like pretty much your process. Mr. Mixed by Illusion. Mr. Illusion.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Can't complain, man.
Yeah.
It's a rainy Thursday.
Yeah, no, it's kind of gloomy right now. From a scale to 1 to 10, how's your mental health? How are you feeling?
Right now?
Right now at this moment.
It's been rough, man. It's been rough over the last couple of days has been a little rough. So I would say I'm at a solid 7.
7?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm at a solid 7.
Okay. Yeah, you were telling me too that so for those who probably don't know, like, you're pretty much well-established, producer. You also songwrite as well too? Like, yeah, tell me a little about yourself.
So basically what people know me for is an audio engineer, mixing engineer, producer second, I also songwrite, that kind of goes hand in hand with that. And I also manage a couple acts, you know what I'm saying? So I dabble in everything across the music spectrum. But what everybody knows me for is House of Dreams and being a mixing engineer.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I think the reason why I'm definitely having this conversation with you is because I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily know, like, the story behind the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody thinks about and always wants to know about just like the end product, the song that comes out, the mix and master version, all that, but they don't understand the stems and like everything else that happens beforehand.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I kind of wanted to start with you on pretty much your beginnings and your process into getting into the the producer films. And we found out that we went to freaking FIU together. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Same years as well too. What, 9? I went 9 to 13. You went 9 to 11.
Yeah, I went 9 to 11.
So I've never. And the crazy part is because I know you're a beta as well.
Yeah.
Right. And like I've been to like probates and I've been to. I guess I just didn't really.
Do you know Ralph, the Haitian?
Yes, I know Ralph.
Okay, Ralph lives here.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know Ralph.
Ralph is like my right hand.
Okay.
Ralph is like keeps me.
Yeah, we know each other.
Solid.
We know. At least I know of him basically.
Yeah, he was the man on campus at that time. He was just so well liked that. Like everybody loved that guy. He's just a very, very interesting character.
Yeah, man.
But for me, I got started in this pretty young. I was fortunate enough to be around like people that are musically inclined, but I was not musically inclined at all. You know what I mean? So I actually had 2 friends that used to like freestyle and rap on our way to the bus, and this is like. We're talking about 6th grade, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
And I was always kind of mesmerized with their ability to do that. Like, like one would beatbox, one would rap, and I would just be there like bobbing my head, super excited, like, yo, this is so cool, But I didn't have a place, I couldn't beatbox, I couldn't rap, I wasn't like, those weren't my things. But I remember, I'd heard Run DMC Walk This Way a million times before this. My mother was big into that, but I'd never seen the music video. And so one day I was watching MTV, I saw the music video, I saw this DJ, Jam Master Jay, cutting up on records. I'm like, yo, what the hell is that? What is that guy doing?
Yeah.
He wasn't rapping, he wasn't making the beats, but he was on the turntable, like, on the mic, and I was so mesmerized with this. Like I had to have been like 12, 13 years old. I think the PS2 had just come out. And
Jesus. What year was that? That was what?
Oh man, this is a long time ago.
2000?
Yeah, it had to have been 2000, 2001,
Fuck.
around there, somewhere in that range. So when that happened, my birthday was around the corner, and I kind of brought it up to my parents. I was like, hey, I've been looking online, Googling, seeing, I'm kind of interested in getting turntables. And like, even belt drive or turntables, cheap belt drive turntables that which you couldn't really DJ on, were super expensive. We're talking about like for a basic setup, it was like $400 to $500. My parents were like, hey, that's a little out of the range. PS2 came out, we're happy to get that for you, and all that stuff.
Because it was a pretty penny, right?
Yeah, that's. The PS2 was way more inexpensive.
Yeah, of course, than the turntables. Yeah, we're talking about a couple grand.
Yeah, it's a big difference. So, my stepfather at the time, he ended up coming across a guy that was selling some of his equipment. Just like getting rid of it, professional gear.
Yeah.
And sold him like a whole setup, records, mixer, turntables, and everything for like $400. And I remember getting it as a gift on my birthday and like being like, now what? Because you get this and like now I have this professional equipment. It's like, what the hell do I do with it? You know what I mean? So I'm just sitting there as a kid, kind of playing around with it, you know, scratching the records or whatever, trying to get used to the turntables. It wasn't until probably about 2 years later that I ran into a bunch of guys that were like actual New York DJs. They owned a record shop up in Sunrise, and they were letting me come around and hang out, and they were kind of teaching me about DJing, how to count beats, how to mix two records together, how to scratch, how to cut.
Understood.
And I got pretty good at it. I started moving into the club life pretty young, 14, doing like all ages parties, doing house parties, you know, the stuff around the way. And I had a friend of mine who was always at these parties come up to me one day and he was like, hey, you know, you have a DJ mixer and you have a DJ mic. Can you record a song for me? I'm like, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know, I how would we even do that?
Yeah, I got you.
And so he brought a version of Cool Edit Pro, a cracked version of Cool Edit Pro, and he installed that on my HP computer that I had from Walmart. And we sat there that day and we recorded my like first song in my career. And I used one of my friend's beats who used FL. It was like it was a beat modeled after The Bounce by Jay-Z. And he sent it over to me and we laced some vocals on it. And I remember getting to the end of that process and listening back to the song and everybody else is jamming like, oh my God, we just made a song. You know what I'm saying? We recorded this stuff. And all I could think about is, why does this sound like shit? Like, why does it, like, okay, y'all are all happy about this. This is
So
great.
at that moment, right, did you feel like you were definitely different than anybody else? Because not everybody pointed that out. Everybody was jamming, everybody's doing well, whatever, you know, loved it, but you were like, no, like, this shit still needs work.
Yeah, I mean, compared to most people when they're making music, and I even noticed that now, is like when producers are making tracks, they're focused on the vibe, the feel of the song.
Yeah.
The artist is focused on the lyrics and how they vocally sound on the track. And I was just so fixated on like sound quality. Like, why is it not, like, I'm hearing songs on the radio, I'm hearing songs on my CD player. How different is what I just did from what they're doing? Like, I didn't know what an engineer was. I didn't know what a big console was. I didn't know what outboard gear was. I didn't know any of this stuff. All I knew is that you record it and that's it. So unbeknownst to me, just kind of like, you know, searching on the internet, I'm basically figuring out the jobs of an engineer, like how to mix a record, how to record better. Just like by trying to make the sound quality better, I started to pick up a job that at that time, I didn't even know the title of. In the background, I started making beats. I started playing around with the keyboard, but I wasn't anything amazing. I was just doing my best to like have beats to record on. You know what I mean? Have my own thing to record on. So I kind of did it out of necessity. I was working a full-time job as an after-school counselor. And during the summer, I remember working like 40-hour weeks. And I got to the end of that summer and I had like probably like $3,500 saved up. And at the time, Roland had just dropped this keyboard called the Phantom X. It was like $2,500, $3,000. And I was so fixated on being a better producer. I said to myself, if I get better sounds, I'll be a better producer. So I get to the end of the summer and I'm like, damn, I start like doing a little bit of, you know, analysis on what I could purchase with this $3,000. And what I saw was I could get a mic, I could get monitors, I could get M-Box, I could get all this other gear as opposed to getting the keyboard.
Got you.
So I was on the fence and I just say, you know what? I'm gonna go with the recording equipment. And that was probably one of the biggest things that I've ever done in my life, because that shaped the course of my life. That equipment, which majority of it, the mic and everything, I still have to this day.
How did it shape?
Well, because now I actually had good recordings for the first time. I got there and I saw the difference of, as soon as I set that mic up, I set those speakers up, I set that M-Box up, and instead of recording through the DJ mic through the audio card in my HP computer, I started recording through a sound card from Pro Tools that had Pro Tools from DigiDesign. The sound quality was night and day, literally. And so now it's just like I have this close to professional recording, and I'm about to go off to college. So I didn't really have artists to record at the time. So I started recording myself. I started rapping. I started like, not out of, again, same reason I was making beats. Is out of necessity. I was just doing it because no one else is there, and I wanted to like test the recordings. I wanted to get better at making it sound better. So that's kind of where I fixated all my time and attention. I ended up going to USF, and when I went up there is when a couple of other musicians and artists, a couple of rappers and stuff, heard my songs, and they're like, your songs are corny as hell, but the quality of it sounds amazing. And so that's what everybody liked me for. That's why they would call me around like, oh, we need you to record it. We need you to edit this. And that became like my fixation, At the same time, I was working with an artist here in Miami who was pretty well known, and started working with all the Juke artists. So this had to be around 2005 to like 2007. And because of him, and because of working with him, I was essentially working on all his projects, and people were hearing the stuff that he was promoting, and they were like, who the hell is doing your stuff?
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to them, it was an 18-year-old kid out of his bedroom.
Facts.
So I started getting a lot of clientele like that. And at that point, it was like just a side hustle, Like I had my regular job, and I engineered on the side. I would get mixes, or I'd record people for like $15 an hour out of my bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying? Bedroom in my apartment, like it was my student housing. And I would make money like that. People would bring me their records. I would mix them, do the best I could to edit them. Again, I still didn't know that was like the mixing engineer title.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that I was an engineer. I just thought I was producer DJ, you know what I mean? Not realizing that I was evolving in this engineering space.
So with all that experience, did you already have like the name of Illusion? Where did Illusion?
Oh, where did Illusion come from? So when I first started DJing, I had some really corny DJ names. I'm not even.
Come on, man. Give me a couple.
Okay.
First of all, how many?
I can only remember the main last one I had, but I probably had like 5 before
All right, give me two of them.
I can't remember.
All right, give me one. Give me one.
Okay, the last one that I went by before this was, I think I've never said this on camera ever. DJ Loopy. Oh my God, I don't know where I got that from.
Where the fuck Loopy came from?
I have no idea. I don't remember the context of it. But what I do remember is I was brainstorming because I was like, this is terrible. I got to fix this. Like if I'm gonna go out and DJ, be on flyers and stuff, and I'm like 14, I'm brand new to this. I want to be taken seriously. I got to come up with a better name. And it was my mother at the time who we were having a conversation. We're all just like stepfather, my mother, sitting around brainstorming different names that I could figure out. At this time they were very, very supportive of what I was doing. And my mother's just like, you're pretty, it's pretty much an illusion what you do. It's just in conversation, because she's like, I see you with these rap kids, you know what I mean? And then like they accept you as one of them, and like, that whole culture, but then you go to Best Buy and you like act and present yourself in such a damn certain way, like articulate and smile and do everything you're supposed to do.
And all the technical verbiage and
then you turn around and go to, college, and you're a whole different person there. So it's just like, this is an illusion. It's funny, like nobody really knows who you really are, because we were just talking about characteristics, and she was like, illusion. That's what you did. You should call yourself Illusion. And
dope. So your mom gave you that name.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's
my mother
amazing.
she gave me my name, and I kind of just rocked with it from there.
But with all those different characteristics and different like type of titles that you've had, right?
Yeah.
Being pretty much Illusion, does that come from a place of chaos?
Does it come from a place of chaos? So what I will say is, for a lot of my life, I was mad, and that's how people talk to me. And there was a point in my life where I reached, and I had to have that. Like I heard this saying, it's every person has multiple lives until they wake up one day and realize they have one. And I really thought on that hard, because realistically it was like, I'm going to work, I'm being this different person, I have to change my personality so many times, so many different places. I just want to be myself, and I want to do what I want to do, and I want to speak how I want to speak, and I want to feel what I want to feel. And there was one day I remember, leaving my corporate job, and really majority of the people in my life only referred to me as Illusion. So I felt like I was so deep in it that I could just be this person now. So I stopped doing the fake smile stuff. I stopped having to worry about changing my persona or my personality in any different setting. And I just was myself. So at one point it was definitely chaotic. Like when I think about how I got my name, and like then like the mentality of having to change who I was in multiple different scenarios. There was definitely a defining moment where I transitioned into this one person that I'm pretty transparent. Everybody knows my personality, like whether it be in the studio or through social media, like I'm the same person.
So you don't DJ anymore?
I don't DJ anymore. I have done in the last couple of years. I did a couple guest slots at certain events that had very specific needs, but that's like a rare occurrence.
Is that usually like the crossroads that pretty much what happened with producers, where like, Because the reason why I asked is because, and correct me if I'm wrong,
No, for sure.
is it hard to market yourself as a producer because you're so much in behind the scenes?
I think nowadays producers get a lot more flowers than they did before. They're getting their flowers now, for sure.
Well, not necessarily accreditation, like achievements. I'm talking about just like spotlight. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. When
Yeah.
I was first starting, I don't think producers were highlighted as much. Engineers, of course not.
Yeah, yeah.
And now producers are definitely in the spotlight. You know what I mean? Like the evolution of like the beat tag. I hated
Yeah.
the beat tag. I thought beat tags ruined songs.
Why is that?
Because I just felt like you're putting this like advertisement right in the middle of
see.
a song,
I see.
and it's loud, and
I
it's
see.
like, but then now I have a very different view on that. My whole career I hated beat tags, and now I view it differently because now it's like those producers are in the limelight. They
Yeah.
get.
Are you
the
talking like a
recognition.
Metro? Like
It-
okay,
you know
that's
what
what you're
I'm
talking
saying?
about.
London on
but
the
that's,
track.
But that's kind of so it's crazy because in like in the beginning, like later, like earlier, I used to hate that shit too because I felt like it would actually ruin, actually like compromise the integrity of the song.
Yeah.
But now it's like when you don't have, Metro Boomin wants some more, nigga. Like if you don't have that,
produced this?
exactly. But
Yeah.
like it kind of like it. First of all, I love it now because it gives credit to the freaking producer.
It does.
But it also boosts up like the morale and actually like the like not what's the word I'm looking for. It
enhances the song.
validates the song.
It does, yeah.
Like, it
I
really
mean,
does.
when you know your favorite producer now worked on that record off rip, like I can tell you now, being in it for a while, if I hear one of my friends' beat tags and I'm in a situation, I can tell you of a time recently that happened. I was playing GTA and the soundtrack was in the back, and I heard
Huge gamer, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm playing that, and I hear Izzy. Are you kidding me? And I'm like, oh, that's my dog Izzy. He made this. That's
Yeah.
crazy. You know what I'm saying? The record with Coffee. And I'm like, wow, like damn. Like
So what-
I wouldn't have known
Yeah.
if I was just listening to that record, I wouldn't have known that he produced that.
Yeah, but you don't do that on your beats.
I've recently got a new beat tag.
Okay.
So there aren't any records out there right now with this beat tag on it. It's again, because I've held that thought in mind for so long. As an engineer, I focused on making the record and to transition the best way I could.
Yeah.
I really just was never a fan of beat tags.
I think it's, and also too, what I realized, beat tags, there's really only beat tags in hip hop and rap songs,
yeah.
not
I
in
know.
R&B
Or pop.
or pop.
Yeah, you just don't see it.
Yeah,
It's just not. It's not something.
Why is that? Is it like just more red tape? Like what from a producer
Again,
perspective?
I think it's a purist mind state. I think a lot of these people, like, again, it's the same thing. A beat tag is kind of like a graffiti marker on the beautiful
mural.
Yeah, on the mural,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
You know, but what hip hop does is they say, oh yeah, that's how you feel. That's fine. We're gonna make that graffiti a beautiful piece of art, and we're gonna make those marks add value. And so I think that's what hip hop's done. You know what I mean? Is it's taken those producer tags. Not only is it giving limelight to these producers, but it's also given the ability for them to, hype up a record, like we just said. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
facts. Yeah.
Like, you feel better when you hear that tag and you know that your favorite producer was involved in that. I mean, I was a huge Timberland fan and he had no beat tags, but he was on every record.
Yeah.
If you heard a Timberland vocal, you knew it was his record. You know what I'm saying?
I think the beauty about him is that he actually had like a very, very distinct
Sound.
type
yeah.
of sound.
Yeah.
But like,
But Swiss Beats too. You look at these guys.
yeah, you already know. Like for
Yeah.
instance, like every single song you already know. Okay, that's Swiss Beats. Like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Or you'll get the Swizzy.
from
Or
starting
the
up
vocal.
or the Swizzy. You know what I'm saying?
Or
Yeah.
then you
Zum
go to
zum zum. Like yeah.
Pharrell, we talk about the 4-count intro. You
Okay,
know what I'm saying?
okay,
Like
okay.
there were creative things that weren't producer tags that were tags. You know what I'm saying? Letting
got
people
you.
know the artist produced them. So I mean, it's an interesting concept. Why in pop music it doesn't do that, and why in hip hop? I think. I can't say. I really couldn't say what that
got
is.
you.
I would hate to speculate because it's a gray area.
No, I
you know
got you.
what
I
I'm
got you. So, back to you as a producer. Talk to me about the time that altered like your career, or pretty much like your breaking point. I don't know if you pretty much like if you can talk to me about that.
Yeah, for
about
sure.
like one of your, I guess like more famous like people that you worked with. You know what I'm saying?
Famous people. I've worked with a lot of guys.
I know. I want to talk about I want to talk about your first one though. I want to talk about that took your career.
So there was no, and that's what's really different about my story.
Okay,
as opposed to a lot of engineer stories or producer stories. They have that one breakout song.
I would think so.
Or that one breakout artist that they continue to work with. For me, it was consistency, and it was my first job. Like my first formal job given to me as an engineer that changed my life. So basically, I was working in the corporate job. I was literally a Best Buy employee for many years.
Bro, dropping my fucking phone.
Man, I do that shit all the time. I was working at Best Buy, 48 plus hours a week. I was working as a full-time employee there. I was a manager previously, but, a lot of complications. My boss got caught stealing. I got demoted. I got my stores changed, lost my apartment. A whole lot of negative things happened to me in a row, and I was still really young. I was still like 20, 21 years old. And, when you feel like you're up and you're getting money and you just got your education and you got all these things going, you live in a nice apartment in Pines, like everything feels great, and then you lose it all. It definitely shakes up your tree a little bit, and it makes you think and look at life a lot differently. So that happened to me, but one of the things that it also did for me was it put me in a position where I was in the store, demoted as a regular employee, selling hard drives again, and a guy walked in the store and was like, "Hey, I need your most expensive hard drive." And I was like, "Okay." Walked him to the aisle. Now, if you work in film or if you work in music, no one in their right mind comes and says, "Give me the most expensive hard drive."
They don't know what they're talking about.
Unless they're doing something in the media film. So I'm like, "Hey, what are you using this for?" Just general question. And he was like, "Oh yeah, we run a film company. We do music and this. And, you hear this a lot." So I took out my card. He used to carry business cards with me, engineering business cards, producer, engineer, boom, and I would give him my card. I gave him my card. And he was like, "We're looking for an engineer." Now, again, I at Best Buy, I hear this every day. Every guy coming in to buy a hard drive is a famous producer, owns a studio, does something. You know what I'm saying?
"Oh, I'll call you back, man. My people going to call you this and that."
Exactly. So I hear that every day. But I gave my card to this guy. He reached out to me. He actually reached out to me on the day I was leaving my apartment. I was moving out of my apartment, going back to my parents' house. So it was like one of those days where I had furniture, boxes in my hands, I couldn't talk, and I was like, "Hey, man, I can't really speak right now. My life is falling apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't really follow up with this conversation." Never followed up with the guy. Just deleted his number out my phone because essentially I figured I blew that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I didn't follow up with the guy. I didn't return his phone call. I was going through it mentally. I just kind of
he was going through your shit.
I just kind of gave up on it.
Gotcha.
I got a random call probably about 3 weeks later from the same guy. He was like, "Hey, I'm looking to see if you know any piano players or keyboardists." I'm like, "Okay, awesome. What are you looking for?" And he's like, "Well, we're looking for guys to make tracks and do this." And I said, "Well, you're not looking for a piano player. You're looking for a producer, somebody to help produce the records and record the records and everything." I said, "I'm perfectly capable of this." He was like, "Yeah, I don't want you, bro. I'm going to be honest." I was like,
"Well, because of the experience
he was like,
"Why do you call, though?"
Because he didn't have a lot of connections for referrals, so he was looking for somebody that was. And so he had encountered me, so he was like, maybe he could refer me to somebody.
I got you.
So I was like, "Look, man," and I kind of was very straightforward with him. This is what I was going through. I can be wherever you want me to be today. Tell me the time and place. So he tells me the time and place. I meet with them. Real cool dude. They had all the memorabilia on the wall. So it was like they were legit. They had a nice office in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And he's like, "Yo, I do the movie side. My partner's the one that does the music side. I see his plaques for the Roots. He was a record promoter. Eminem, all these people. Yeah, so he was very versed in promoting records. So they end up giving me my first job in the industry, paying me like $20 an hour, you know what I mean, to be an engineer. They ended up firing a lot of the staff that they had there because I basically replaced everybody's job. I worked with them for a while, things... music industry stuff. It's your first job, first career, first contract, and it didn't go well. It ended very poorly with them on a bang. I don't want to say too much about the situation because I don't want to come at anybody in particular.
Not sully anybody's name,
yeah.
Like
because opportunities were given to me and I learned a lot. But a year into my contract, 9 months into my contract, my year contract, it was pretty much over. I walked out of the door. And went through a lot of the music industry stuff. They tried to, change my image, change how I dressed, change how I spoke, change the type of music I made, tried to change me. And when I got that experience and I left, that was kind of the defining moment where all those multiple lives I talked about earlier, I eliminated them. I eliminated them all. I was like, I will no longer be other people or act different ways with other people. I'm just going to be me
Yeah.
at all points in time. And because these guys had taken me from my corporate job and really gave me belief and showed me, like, hey, this is really capable. The one conversation that really set it off is my old boss actually sat down and he talked to me. He's like, you're a Best Buy employee. In the next, what's the highest position you could get? He literally asked me that. He said, are you going to be the CEO? He's like, nah, you're not going to be the CEO. You know why you're not going to be the CEO? CEOs go to Harvard, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a line level employee. So let's be realistic. Let's be practical. What's the best you can do here? I say district manager, general manager. Okay, how long until you get general manager? If you work your ass off from now until then?
Too long.
10 years,
Yeah.
easy, 35.
Yeah,
I was
35.
21 at the time. It had been at least 10 years before they gave me a GM position, right? And how much does GM at Best Buy make? We Google it. Like $120,000, $130,000 a year.
Which is nothing.
He's like, I made what you plan to spend the next 10 years of your life doing last month. You're doing things wrong.
Jesus Christ.
And it was the first time that anybody had ever pointed that out to me and taught me something like that.
Yeah.
So I actually went through like crisis because I was like, I really thought I was gonna make a career out of Best Buy and do music on the side.
So that was pretty much your defining moment,
Yeah,
honestly. Like
that
your turning point.
That was definitely one of the big turning points for me, because then I realized, I was like, well, these guys are telling me that I'm good enough to be a musician and an audio engineer. They're paying me a fee hourly to be here and work. I've got tons of money from other artists that trusted me to record their music and edit their music. When I left that job, I was at like this crossroads. I have a nice resume. I can go get a retail job, sell phones, do whatever, anywhere. Or I could starve and build a business. And that's when I decided, I was like,
gotta make that leap, gotta make that jump.
21, no responsibilities except for paying for my car payment and my credit cards, which I said, fuck all that shit.
Yeah, in 7 years it'll be gone.
Yeah, funny enough,
that's how it works.
It just came off about 8 months ago.
Yeah.
I stopped paying
And
the
credit
price.
can always be redeemed, so.
It can be. And what I'll tell you is that was a hard jump for me because I was used to that 2-week paycheck, that safety net. And that's what they had described it to me. It's like, you love the safety net. And it was. And that's like a lot of us. We're addicted and we're comfortable because we know that check is coming. When that check is not coming, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I remember days when people would cancel on me, cancel a session, cancel not wanting to buy a beat, changing their mind. That was detrimental to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't pay my cell phone bill. I wouldn't be able to eat.
Let's stick on that real quick.
Okay.
I don't know if it's actually like the notion or like, the narrative right now, but growing up, listening to music, listening to freaking hip hop and everything, one of the biggest things I've ever heard was motherfuckers running out of fucking producer bills. Like literally leaving motherfuckers high and dry. Burning motherfuckers.
It happens, yeah.
My question to you is that, and it goes really deep because it's like the chef not paying the distributors or the whole food markets to pay for their ingredients and taking their ingredients and making their fucking dish. And be like, it's mine. No, motherfuckers, not.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't pay what you had to pay in order to
Provide
rightfully
that dish.
get that.
Yeah.
So, bro, that happens a lot more in the industry than I realize.
Yeah.
Like, and who I blame initially, honestly, is the artist for having the lack of respect for producers and engineers. And also, too, hold on real quick. Also, too, the flip side is engineers and producers not standing on their fucking ground and be like, yo, like, no, I'm not fucking giving this beat for free. No, I need my freaking paper now. No, I need 100% prepaid, or at least 0.5%. But they're afraid because of their beginnings, they want to get in the door. And it's like, it goes deep, man. So like,
it gets complicated.
Yes.
It gets complicated. So I have an opposing view to yours when it comes to this. In this day and age, like from the guys from my age bracket, right, growing up, how many movies, how many horror stories have we heard about artists getting screwed by their label and not getting their checks and not getting the money they deserve and all this. Like, this has been a reoccurring notion
Yeah.
and like in our face
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah, I got you.
So if you are wanting to take any business seriously, right? Buy a piece of property, start a laundromat, whatever it is that you want to do, you're gonna have to get the proper paperwork in order to do business, right?
Got it.
So the issue is that a lot of guys are just not, and it's not that the knowledge isn't readily available for you. We live in the Google generation, bro. We live in a generation where the information is literally at your fingertips.
True.
Whenever you choose to want to learn it, that's incredible.
Yeah.
There was. I remember a time when that wasn't there, when there weren't tutorials for Pro Tools on YouTube that you could go watch.
Yeah.
Where I literally had to dig in forums and ask people because the information wasn't out there. And now you can find so much of it. So like if you get screwed with your music, it's simply because you didn't educate yourself. And education is everything. And unfortunately there's more socioeconomic problems with that. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a cell phone, if you have access to a computer, you can figure out what you need to do in order to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Because how many horror stories have we heard?
Bro, we've heard, I think the most recent story was, I can't remember the guy or whatever, but like, and I can't remember the artist, but basically it was like months or years
Oh, that
of
happens,
like,
yeah.
of like not getting paid.
Oh, for
And saying
sure.
they are gonna get paid. And now they're trying to sue the freaking artists and everything else too, because of like, they needed pretty much the paper, whatever. It's a sad situation. Honestly, it hurts everybody at the end of the day.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, when it comes to producing credits, like you just got to be very straightforward. There's
Yeah,
some people
facts.
I'm doing paperwork straight up. There's some people I'm doing it on the back end. It really depends. Are we dealing with an independent artist? Most of the time, independent artists don't do any paperwork.
Yeah.
And they don't even know how to do paperwork. They don't have
Yeah.
any legal counsel. When you're dealing with a label, they're gonna have things way more together. They're gonna have the system way more together. You're tending to get more credit out of there. Now, do they steal from their artists and steal from producers?
Yeah.
Have they been audited and found that they owe a lot of people a lot more money than they say they did? It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But at least they're doing the paperwork. You
Facts.
can go and look up your credits. You can go find that. I have tons of indie artists that I produce for that have had good singles out that don't even have me registered under their stuff because no one ever did it for them or they didn't do it themselves. You know what I mean?
I see.
So it's an education thing. There's a lot of red tape that comes with making music, and to protect yourself properly, you have to learn those things. If you want to be in this game, you got to learn how to make money and how to protect yourself. It's like with anything.
Speaking of red tape, like I've always actually realized, and then we're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
The sampling game,
Oh man, it's crazy. Yeah.
like,
It's such crazy.
it's. So I pretty much, you have to go through the personal route and also the legal route as well too, right? Sometimes
So-
if you know the person, you be like, "Yo, Lauryn Hill, I want to sample this song," and they're like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." But then the label, whoever owns that, if she doesn't even own the masters,
It's who owns the
yeah,
publishing.
okay,
Who
got
owns-
you. Not
who
the
owns-
masters, the
well, it's-
publishing.
Well, there's two different things
so
here.
so teach me.
Yeah, so you have the master recordings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which normally are the masters that the labels talk about. And then you have the publishing, which is the actual writing of the music.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so basically the artist writes the lyrics, that's their lyrics.
Got
if
it.
they write the music, create the music, write the music, they're writing the music.
Yeah.
It's that we're talking about publishing. When we're talking about the actual master recordings, we're talking about the recordings on Pro Tools that were paid to be created. So somebody could do a rendition of something, right? They're not necessarily using the master recordings, but they're using the song, so publishing has to be paid.
I
You
think
know
that
what
was the
I'm saying?
problem that Ashanti and Irv Gotti went through.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that
Okay, yeah,
situation.
it's kind of like the same thing where like the whole publishing. But anyways,
I mean,
continue.
you're seeing a lot of
Yeah,
artists.
yeah.
It's a new trend with older artists.
So basically, let me
Yeah,
explain
they're
it to you.
recutting them.
So with her, she doesn't have any rights, I believe,
To her master
to her
recordings.
masters or credits.
Yeah.
So what she's doing, or she did,
Re-recorded them.
Yes. And now she owns them.
Yeah. Because they're not the same recording.
But that's kind of like the same thing of like not necessarily paying royalties for samples, because you're sampling.
Well,
or no.
you're sampling a recording. Who owns
Yeah.
the recording and who owns the song?
But that shit gets tricky,
No,
bro.
it gets tricky. It gets real tricky.
Yeah.
Sampling. I mean, nowadays it's a lot easier because they have things like TrackLib, which is a website that you can go to that offers tons and tons of samples that you can get clearance for immediately.
Yeah.
You got things like Splice or Sounds.com
Yeah.
where you can get royalty-free loops and samples. So I don't think it's much of an issue nowadays. If you want to sample a classic record, that's when you're going to have to go through some legal loopholes to try to get that sample cleared. Big Crit, one of my favorite artists in the fucking world.
Have you ever worked with him?
I've never worked with him, actually.
Okay.
I would love to work with him. I just think he's incredible with his production, with his mixing ability, and his rapping ability. But one of the things that's always held him back was sample clearance. And this is why his mixtapes to me have always been way better than the albums, because he can just throw the samples on there, not profit from them, you know what I'm saying, and release the songs. You know,
but even releasing the songs can be an issue too, and you can definitely get sued.
Oh, you can definitely get in trouble for that. But most of the time, if you're doing it non-profit, there's a little bit of wiggle room.
Because what happened? Remember what happened with Pharrell Williams?
I don't.
He sampled one of Marvin Gaye's songs.
What are we talking about? This is the Blurred Lines song?
Yes.
So they didn't sample that. They actually didn't sample that.
Oh,
they actually played, all that was original. All that was original music.
Okay.
But the issue was, and the reason why they won that case was because the song is almost the same.
Yeah, basically.
Like literally,
like Milli Vanilli a little bit, or like Vanilla Ice. You know what I'm saying?
You reproduced it enough, close enough for there to be speculation.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's like, did that person infringe on it? I'm not an entertainment lawyer, so these things get really detailed. I can only speak on the things that I've experienced and know.
Yeah.
But I mean, the legality of it gets pretty deep. This is why I tell everybody, stop trying to be your own lawyer. The most important things, I think, in any business, no matter what business you're doing, and that's the one thing about the music business, everybody tries to treat it like it's some magical land of unicorns and fairies. Like, oh my God, you just got to figure out some crazy thing. No, bro, you need to treat it like you're opening up Kyle's Laundromat, okay?
Got it.
Kyle's Laundromat, what do you need? You're going to need, clearance from the city. You're going to need a proper building. You're going to need working machines. You're going to need somebody to fix the machines. It's the same thing. You're going to need an accountant, and you're going to need a lawyer. Those are the two most important things in any business. So if you're going to start a business, you need to have an accountant and you need to have a lawyer. If it's too expensive for you, maybe you're not ready to do business yet. And that's the truth. Like, the fact of the matter is, you want to protect your business, you want to protect your music, you want to be educated about things, you need to go talk to an attorney. If you want to protect your money and know how to properly pay yourself and properly do your taxes and properly file for your business and get business credit and to move forward, you need an accountant. So these are the two things that you need to do business, period.
Yeah.
So this is what I see a lot of people in the music industry overlook.
Yeah.
These basic things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With those things, you run into way less problems.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're definitely well versed as far as like educating people when it comes like the producer world, which we'll get into a little bit later. But let's talk about your process. So I'm
what
gonna
process? Mixing process or the production process?
Man, we can get into both.
Okay, cool.
So I have a question, and let me just tell this story real quick. So the first time and last time I met you, right?
Yeah.
I felt as if you ain't really like me.
For real?
Yes.
Oh man.
The reason why is because there was a time, and ask me because I want to see like where's the line between like, all right, you're in the studio. All right, my nigga, like you like you're in the pot now. Like you need to stay away from this. Like I'm cooking this shit right now. Like stop. I think we kind of definitely experienced that with me with Imani, because I remember one time I came here and Imani, great person, loving that. Shout out to Imani. But then I realized at times that I can maybe be maybe too influential as far as like maybe y'all two process, because I have to respect that as well too. And I don't know if you remember that. Like
I don't.
It kind of happened, and it's
but I hear this, and so it's like, for me, I get this a lot.
Yeah.
I get this a lot, I'll be honest. A lot of people, I rub people the wrong way sometimes in the studio because I'm so fixated on the goal.
Of course.
And what I'm trying to get accomplished, and people are paying for my time. If you rub me the wrong way, I definitely remember it. And I definitely would have said something to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the type of guy I am. I'm very or honestly,
but that's how I felt, because I felt like I was impinging in the process at one time.
So there's a fine line, right?
Talk to me about
there's
that.
a fine line in the studio, right? So there's a fine line between the creative individuals giving input and then the homeboy who doesn't know anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the
homeboy who doesn't know anything. Just feels it, but I don't really know anything.
So again, it's a very fine line.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
There's some people that come into the studio, right? and they come to work and they come with their friends or they bring their friends in, and some of their friends are it's a communication thing. I think for me, I see a lot of guys that come in, they're like, hey, Illusion, what do you do? You can tell the people they're genuinely interested and that want to participate and want to help build and make whatever we're doing better.
Yeah.
And when you see somebody, even if they're inexperienced, genuinely trying to do that.
But they do have a right to do that, though.
They do. They
do?
They
You
do.
sure about that?
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. It's how you do it. It's how you do it is what makes the difference.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And this doesn't go from people that know how to make music to people that don't know how to make music. I think I run into this a lot of times with the bigger artists because of how they act than I do with the younger ones. But the frustrations are exactly the same. So let's say, I'm going to give you 2 examples. You come into the studio, right? Boom, I'm working with an artist. Somebody dope walks in. That artist has a big producer or artist friend or somebody that's in the industry and professional at what they do.
Yeah.
They walk into the studio. They don't know me. They don't know anything about what we got going on here. They just come in and they just start giving their input.
Now you wildin'.
But it happens more often than not. This happens frequently.
Yeah.
So as an engineer, it's like you didn't introduce yourself. You didn't say hello. You didn't say what your position was. So I don't even know who you are to this individual. You know what I'm saying? I'll have managers come in here that were trying to play the engineer role, which I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that they were even trying to do that, trying to tell me how to record and how to do my job that this person and me have already established a relationship doing. You feel me? So there's a fine line between constructive criticism and like being an asshole. And a lot more times people come in, they're just like, they're so used to being with that individual in their space. When they come into someone else's, they feel like, oh, they have a right to do and say however they feel. So I've had that with amateur artists. I've had, or amateur people that don't know anything about creating music and that are just the friends.
Yeah.
And I've had that with big artists.
Yeah.
So the frustration with the guy that doesn't know music, right, is that I am trying to do a job and they're barking orders at me, telling me what to do, not realizing that this individual is paying me to provide my professional opinion and guide this process.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I'll tell you 90% of the time that people do that, everything that they're saying is either the wrong way to do it, somebody who's done it for many years.
Coming from a place of entitlement and thinking they can just run shit.
And that they know what the hell is going on and I don't.
Yeah.
And I've had to check a couple people in here.
Of course, because this is your home.
Well, it comes down to do you go to, like, my simple question to anybody is this. I don't know shit about cars, bro. When my car breaks down, I take it to the shop. Yeah, they might be scamming me or whatever, but do I tell them, no, that's not wrong with that?
Yeah.
I go to the doctor. He said, your knee's broken. No, it's not. It's not. All I got to do is this.
Yeah.
Then why the hell are you here? Why ask a professional for their opinion?
Yeah.
Like, and then my next question to most people is, what do you do for a living? Again, not trying to shit on anybody's life, but like, this is how I feed my family.
Yeah, you do this.
This is how I eat.
Yeah.
I'm not over here.
But
coming
overall
from a place-
respect, overall respect needs to pretty much be implemented at all times. And
It's
like,
a hard thing.
It's like, and also it's like, I think at times, respect is not necessarily implemented in the studio as well too, because of that.
So
I'll give you real quick. So I'll give you an example. Like, you'll have the relationship with you and the artist, your client, and then like the artist will have a relationship with like the management and like the people, like the photographers, and then the entourage, right? But the overall umbrella of everything is like, yo, this is a House of Dreams, right?
Yep.
You are in House of Dreams. I am the fucking head producer. Like, put some fucking respect on my name.
And honestly,
sometimes you gotta go there, bro.
Sometimes I do, but it's not an often thing. The issue with this, and this kind of what I was going to get to in all recording studios, anybody that's been in this a while, been in the studio and actually worked in the studio, one thing you'll know is that ego is very sensitive in here. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel it the minute ego walks in the studio.
Yeah,
I don't know.
proximity too. This is a small place. It's like everybody is
small.
together.
You can feel people's energy.
Yeah,
You can feel how people engage. You can see their mannerisms. The walls are treated, so it's very intimate. So like it feels very, very close. And everybody's trying to add their input.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, it's not about adding input, it's about how. It's about how you introduce yourself, how you come in, and how you do that. So I'll tell you right now, Amani's had a couple people in here that have rubbed me the wrong way, and I've been vocal with them right there in the moment,
Yeah.
and with him later on.
I feel you.
Trust me, like if you, like I wouldn't even, we wouldn't, if I felt some type of way, we wouldn't even been sitting here. To be honest, I'm that type of person. I would have just wrote it off.
Got it.
Because I take that, if I feel somebody is just that egotistical that I couldn't communicate with them, or I felt like they were interrupting my process, I would have been bothered. You know what I'm saying? Because the only reason I can do the job that I do and continue to get booked is because I do it at a level that people enjoy, that gets results. And so my thing is that whether it be a younger, more inexperienced artist that has no following, or it's a famous artist, I want to provide the same level of quality across the board, same attention to detail, the same interest, whether I like the song or I don't. That's the other part of it. You know what I mean? I may or may not like the song, but if I like the artist, if the artist has made me a believer in them as a person, as somebody who wants to learn, who wants to gain, who wants to do better, anything that interrupts that pure, genuine want bothers me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So to add upon that, when I was here, I was here when the beat of what is it? What You Need.
What You Need. Oh, okay,
I was here for that.
Oh, okay, man. That was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I was here literally from beginning to end to like how you pretty much made that beat.
Oh, man. That was fun.
So, in words, if you can, because I can feel it, but like in words, can you explain to me how did you go from having like a one type of snare up until building a whole entire like orchestration of different sounds to make that beat? During that time, if you could explain that to me, because that was incredible. Like,
all producers' processes are different.
Well, I'm talking about yours. Yours.
That's what I'm getting to. So everybody's process is really, really different. And for me, like, I am not one that likes to email stuff. That's just not what I've learned. And a lot of producers, I saw a video of Kenny Beats talking about this. He's like, basically like, screw your email, and it's like, why? Because it's impersonal. And the other reason is that the energy in the studio means something. You know what I'm saying?
So when you say email, like if a person's like away, and like you just email the beat to them,
and they write the song,
exactly. Or they put the song. No, it doesn't work like that.
So it does in a lot of
sometimes, but like
a lot of artists do a lot, and a lot of professional songs are made just like that.
With the higher end people, sometimes that's the only thing you can do.
Because
if you have an opportunity working with like Kanye West or Nicki Minaj or like Future,
you may not
or whatever,
see them in person.
You're probably never going to see them.
Yeah, you're going to.
But you have to do that. I see.
So when you have the luxury, or you have people that are willing, because it costs to be in the studio. Costs every minute. Some people will say writing in the studio is a waste of money. You know what I mean? There's arguments for that, and it's a valid argument, especially if you're on a limited budget. But if you have the ability to create music with someone, like organically from the beginning to the end, it can change a new artist into a seasoned artist. So for me, I like to work hands-on, and Amani's one of those guys that since I met him, he kind of was like, oh, I see what value you're offering, and I genuinely want to learn from you and make my product better. So how do we do that? And so I started showing him ways that I like to work. I like to work in person. Don't come in here with stuff already written. Come in here and I'll play a couple melodies on the keyboard, and let's see what we like. Do you like that? Do you like this? It may not happen in the first 30 minutes. It may not happen in the first hour, but is that money that you're willing to spend to get to the end?
I think it's all about getting closer to your result.
And it's
you
hard,
may not necessarily, because you got to have some foresight with that as well too.
Yeah, for sure.
And plus, if you have like limited resources, like not much money, but you got to have that trust within yourself to not like have that instant gratification to try to get it right then and there.
Yeah, but that's for both. That's the funny thing is that's for both of the people in there.
Facts.
So think about it. If I have an off day and I'm not playing anything that's resonating, now his vibe is off. Or if I lay something that's fire and he can't think of nothing, now we're blowing dollars and cents every minute.
Literally burning it. Yeah,
we're burning money. Literally by sitting here.
Yeah, facts.
Not getting anything done.
Yeah,
but more times than not, if you spend that time doing that and you actually sit there and you create, you can get a good result. So for me, I'm the type of guy that doesn't like to think too hard about it. If I play something and it feels hypnotic, and I can listen to it, no drums and no nothing by itself, I know that's something I'm going to want to move forward on.
We had that all recorded, by the way.
We do.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, like that. The when you went from right. Yeah, we had that recorded from last year when he made the beat. Like, yeah, literally from like, you know,
Melody to drums.
Like that whole process, we got that film.
Oh man, that's dope.
Yeah,
I
I'll
gotta
share
see
with
this.
you.
I gotta see this footage.
Yeah.
It's fun for me because I do it so much. To me, it's work. Like it's like anybody going to their cubicle. This is what I'm doing. I'm showing up and I got to perform. It's like, yo, you got to send out all your emails. To me, it's I have to make something that my client enjoys, that I enjoy, that we can turn around and make a song out of. Me and Imani have built a pretty good chemistry, and I have a general idea of what he likes. So, and I do that with a lot of artists. You know, they have specific wants and needs, and I try to cater to that particular want or need. And you know, that's how it goes. Me personally, I start with the melody, and then once I got the melody going, I want to know what style of song. What are you feeling as an artist? What lyrics, what melodies are coming behind? Sing to me, bro. Like literally, I kind of like feed off others' energy. I can be sitting at home and I have writer's block, but the second I'm in the studio with somebody and they're next to me and they're excited and we're moving, I get amped and I feed off that. And those are when my best records are made.
I think that's the reason why you're so great, because you feed off of people's energy to make it like a culmination of like the song. It's teamwork.
It is.
Wouldn't you agree that there are a lot of producers who are egotistical?
Yeah.
And when they make that song, it's like, yo, you got to do this song, or you got to write the song, the lyrics to the song this way, or else it's not going like.
So I am that way and I'm not that way.
Okay,
So it's a hard toss up because it really depends on what we're talking about.
So where's the balance then? Like what like does it depend on like
the balance
the
is
moment?
between the artists.
Okay, so the relationship between you and the artist.
Me and the artist have to, because don't get, Amani will tell you, and he's just one example.
Yeah.
Me and him bump heads all the time.
I was here for that.
We bump heads.
We were here for that.
Like, but the thing is, like, what I've explained to Amani, and he's come to understand, and what a lot of artists understand with me, you're paying me, bro. At the end of the day, if I wanted to, I can just shut up. And just do whatever you want.
Facts.
I really could.
Yeah.
If I'm exhausting my energy to try to convince you of something, it's because I truly believe it, and years of experience have taught me that this would work, or this might sound better. Am I always right? No. I'll tell you, there's been 100 times, hundreds of times in the studio where I was like, I don't want to do that. And the artist's like, yo, bro, just copy and paste and do it like this. And I'm like, fuck, it worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's the beauty of the process.
That's the process. That's the process.
Yeah.
You have to try it. You have to try it. You don't like it sound like this?
Yeah.
Some people don't like to stack their vocals. Well, do you want to get to the end of the process and feel like it feels thin? Well, then do multiple vocals, and if worst case scenario, we mute them out, we delete them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's decisions that have to be made in real time that can affect the overall value of the record and perception of the record. So it's really just dependent on the relationship between the producer and the artist, that understanding that chemistry. That chemistry is a big deal. You know, what are we trying to create? The record we did recently is probably my favorite thus far. The song that we just released called Confetti.
Confetti is fire, bro.
So
you made that beat too?
Yes, I did. So that was something that I had made previously that I had showed him, but we built that song together. And one of the main things about Imani is like, or with any artist, and that we really hit the nail on the head with that particular record is like, let's stop trying to talk about facades or lives that we don't live. Like, what in your daily life do you really live that you know? You know what I'm saying? And I said, bro, you're in these clubs all the time. I said, yo, people dream. I mean, Meek Mill was rapping about confetti and how it gave him goosebumps when it hit and you see that every night. You're there, you're in a different world, you're watching it. You're seeing the sea of people and how everybody interact and engage, and like, you know, the women, the rappers, the famous people.
Imani has songs right now that can go.
No, for sure. I love that song.
Have you did you do I Like Your Design as well?
I did pretty much all the records he's released recently.
Yo, let me tell you, I Like Your Design. Let me tell you something right now. I don't know if you heard, because I remember the first time it actually got played in a club, I forgot, maybe 5 or maybe 6 months ago, during the summer. I was recording it, and no, I'm sorry, it was actually on Imani's birthday in December.
Oh shit.
And I Like Your Design came on. Bro, let me tell you, I love that song, but that song in the club, that fucking bass, dog, like that shit just resonates through your friggin' body. Like, we was on time out, like that rumbling.
Honest, when I hear stuff like that, like, you see I'm smiling because that's the engineer side of me.
Yeah,
like,
I got you.
I produce and I'm a good producer, but I'm an engineer.
So so as far as like the talent and the expertise of the engineer, that's what makes and breaks a song?
Yes,
Okay.
for sure. So like, it's this. That's why I say we always get lost in the background. I think, Travis Scott's engineer, what's his name? God, of course I'm blanking out right now. He's definitely kind of like brought to the limelight a lot of different things. I mean, Dr. Dre is hip hop's real first engineer, you know what I'm saying? And making sound and crafting it in a way where it fits well together. A lot of people just don't understand what an engineer does. Imagine trying to tell the average person what what you're
Alexander
doing.
Toomey.
Yeah. Well, Alexander Toomey is 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz. I know he's
Okay.
done Travis Scott. I'm thinking of damn man, what is his name?
I'm looking up right now.
Travis Scott's engineer. He's a white guy. God.
Cash Passion?
Yeah, Mike Dean, man. Mike Dean. Well, I'm tripping.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mike Dean.
Mike Dean.
So,
Got it.
So yeah, Mike Dean. Mike Dean was setting the bar so high. You know what I mean? You got guys like Alex Toomey.
Yeah.
Another one that's setting the bar high with what he was doing with Young Thug. You have a lot of these guys that have just been so innovative and so crucial to the sonic of the artists they're working with that they've kind of shined. Mixed by Ali. Everybody knows Ali.
Yeah.
Ali's huge in the engineering community because you heard Kendrick stuff and you're like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah,
This sounds different than everything I've ever heard.
Because like, let's just kind of like maybe stay on like the nightclub a little bit. Like, there's songs that I listen to that I know that that pretty much like that just like rocks with me.
Yeah.
But that resonates through my soul.
Yeah.
Like there's levels to it. There's levels of like, as far as songs that like are thin, and there's songs that like literally like it will go through you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I Like Your Johnny is like pretty much one of them. When I heard it in the club, I was like, I was going crazy, bro. I was trying to find fucking money. He was picking clients into freaking live. I was like, yo, but the funny part is he did not hear it at all because he was outside.
Oh,
that was the
shit.
crazy part. So like he's never heard that song
In the club.
Bro, it's a great song outside. In the club is different, bro. You
man.
gotta listen to it, bro. Like,
It's
come to
crazy.
live one time and they're gonna play it, bro. You're gonna go crazy. Watch. But back to like where I was pretty much trying to bring up is that nightlife and the music industry and producing. In your opinion, how much of an impact has the producer world? How much of an impact that like the nightlife has had on the producer world and vice versa? Because
this is going to be a complicated one.
let's do it.
I always have beef with so many promoters. You know what it is? It's like I just go. My first thought is like, yo, I have this conversation often because like being a DJ and like knowing that side, like and knowing what that world is like, dealing with promoters, dealing with the club, dealing with those characters and the facade of the club. Especially here in South Florida, because a lot of it, across the beaches, across the bridges, it's a facade.
Facts.
It plays a pivotal part, but like I think back in the day, like a lot of people used to try to get their records played on South Beach, Story and this and that. And it's like you really say to yourself, these are a lot of tourists coming in. Is this really making an impact as a musician, right? How do they tie in? I think they tie in because they give people a place to congregate, a place to meet. I honestly owe a lot of my career to the fact that parties in Miami happen. Girls like Yes Jules throwing parties that like
Shout out to Yes Jules.
I would come out to these events and I would meet all these really cool people because she brought them out.
Yeah.
They came for her and her parties and her team and what they were doing. I'm just a producer coming to network and meet people, and I've met tons and tons of artists at events like that. Like I've gone to tons and tons of parties and met tons of musicians and went straight to the studio afterwards. So I think that's where they play a huge pivotal role with each other, is the fact that it gives a place for people to meet. But you also see the worst of the worst in those situations. The bottle popping, the standing on the couches, the blowing excessive money, the living a lifestyle that you may or may not live. You know what I mean? I see a lot of people try to change themselves in those positions to try to look a certain way, whereas if they would just be a little more authentic, you know what I'm saying, it would get them a little bit farther. So the nightlife can breed a weird thing in people. And I've been there as a DJ, everybody wants to stand in the booth. Everybody wants to be the guy that knows the promoters. Everybody wants to be on the list.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? And feel important. I feel like in the studio, it's just so different. So I think that's why I don't like the nightclub as much or going out as much. What I do like about it though is that it's the only place I can meet other people.
Yeah, facts,
Like,
facts.
you know, if I want to go make a connection with somebody and have a conversation.
Huge networking opportunity, man.
That's it.
It's a monster.
It's a monster,
Yeah,
yeah. It
yeah,
really
definitely.
is. I can't tell you how many times, literally my entire business is word of mouth. You know, social media is great, but that only goes so far.
But
you know?
doesn't that kind of like maybe complicate people who are producers who are introverts? Are most
does.
producers introverts?
Are most producers introverts? No, I wouldn't
Okay,
say
okay.
most producers are introverts. I would say you see a
Percentage.
range.
Give me a percentage.
I mean, I would say it's 50-50,
Okay,
man. You
got
get
it.
a lot of introverted producers. You get the you know, the extroverts. I would say I'm more of an extrovert, you know, as a producer. I have no problem speaking, being around people. And I see the guys that just, like, they don't do well in social situations. I think it's like everything, bro. A couple years ago, and it's like 6-7 years ago, I was still showing up to events in jean shorts and a 5XT.
Yeah.
And I was well known for what I was doing, but I wasn't accepted amongst the social crowd because they'd moved on to skinny jeans and joggers.
Yeah,
And I
facts.
didn't fit the part.
Yeah, yeah,
And like
yeah.
I didn't dress the part. So like it's the same thing with anybody. Are you gonna let your limitations or the way you feel about clothes or the
Yeah.
way you feel about talking to people
Yeah.
prevent you from making it to the next level? Is that gonna be your roadblock in the overall scope of what you're trying to accomplish?
I hear you.
So I think that's like a hurdle that any introvert has to overcome to be able to capitalize. But we're also living a different age. Today, 2022,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the emergence of TikTok and discovery apps like this,
Yep.
you can stay at home and produce.
Yeah.
You don't have to go meet people.
You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do shit. You don't have to leave your bedroom if you don't want to. You really don't.
Yeah.
And you can really capitalize and do it. But that's going to require you getting in front of a camera.
Yeah, which is another thing. Yeah, definitely. Which I feel like you as producer, engineer, you've been, you know, working on your brand to pretty much put yourself out there.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, like talk to me about that. Where like, you know, that I guess that method and that journey. Were you always like that? Were you always like just willing to be in front of the camera?
So
Or-
I never was. I never, because I started in music, I never had aspirations of being the artist. I never wanted the limelight. I never wanted to be the guy in front of the camera rapping or singing or making music and the guy in the camera. I liked being in the background. I liked being that. But what I realized is when the emergence of Instagram happened, it actually happened the year that I quit Best Buy and started working for this company full-time as an engineer.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, it literally happened, I think, the week I started there. And I just started documenting it. I would take pictures. I had a smartphone. I'd take pictures.
Yeah.
And I actually went through all my photos from 11 years ago now and sorting through them. And I'm like, oh my God, like I really documented all my moves. You see the growth in these photos, you know? And so it was just me taking pictures of myself to show that I was in the studio. And it was because of that that I ended up landing so many gigs.
Yeah.
Because people would go to my page and be like, damn, this guy is always in the studio. Another artist, another artist, another artist. Over the last couple of years, getting older, it's become more of a burden to me, for sure. And what I've recognized is that I'm getting less booked sometimes because of this. My younger guy who's posting more and
Yeah.
more in the scene is getting booked more
Yeah.
because I fall into the background. So it's in this day and age, it's out of sight, out of mind. And so it's, you know, a lot of people want to fight against TikTok and the evolution of technology. I mean, as I was telling you, I'm a big fan of the Oculus and the whole metaverse and shit.
Of course.
As a lot of my peers in my age group are like, man, fuck these kids. I'm like, you sound like your parents. You sound like Joe Budden. Like, let's get it together. Let's
Yeah.
evolve or die. That's where we are. You know, TikTok is hard, bro. Making content. I posted a TikTok before I came.
We were
here
talking
today.
about it before we were filming. Yeah, you got put 4 times a day on TikTok.
4 times a day.
And not to mention all the other social medias that you have as well too. It gets really overwhelming. But to take yourself to that next level, pretty much, and to have more of a residual outcome, content is king. You know what I'm saying? And social media is where it's at.
You can fight against. You can try to rebuild the wheel. You can try to reinvent fire. You can try to do that, or you can try to figure out how to make it better and how to evolve. That's really where we're at. And a lot of people want to be like, oh, I'm going to go against this.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. STEM player,
Yeah.
great example. Fight the machine, I'm all for it. But some things you just got to accept that, hey, this is how people consume, so let me learn.
And that's actually one of the great things about you, I feel like, is that you're able to adapt pretty much at every single moment. But not every single producer can. Not every producer will. So, and like in your own mind, your own expertise, what advice would you give to the young producer that's pretty much up and coming right now?
The main piece of advice I give anybody trying to accomplish anything, like,
Okay.
and not, this doesn't just apply to music, and it just seen it to be true
Yeah.
with anything,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you can say exactly the same. You don't have to be the best. You don't even have to be good.
Okay, yeah.
You just
All
have
right.
to be consistent. The thing is this, is that we let life tell us it's not the right time. I can put this to the side. I can't do this. Or, I don't have time for this. There will be the right moment. Mom dies. Grandma dies. Pet dies. Money's tough. Working 60 hours a week. Time's not right. So you put it off. I see artists get traction, pop for a year or two, and then disappear. That's not
Consistency, bro. Progress over perfection.
I've never been the best engineer. I'm good at what I do, and I've educated myself to the best of my ability. Like, literally, I want to know as much as possible. But I can name 10 engineers in South Florida better than me right now. That got more plaques, that got more credits, that I've watched them work and been like, damn, you are amazing at what you do. Their names aren't as well known as mine in the city and amongst our group.
Yeah, work ethic as well too.
Yeah.
Work ethic that definitely plays a huge
I mean,
role.
I think that goes right into consistency.
True.
Can you consistently work hard?
Yeah,
Can you
facts.
consistently be putting out content? Can you consistently stay focused on the craft? One thing that I've never done is let my personal defeats, no matter if my mental health was at a 0 right now, I still would have been in the studio doing work, because this is what I love and this is what I wanted to do. I'm gonna be 55. I'm gonna be 70 years old if I can still
going
fucking
in.
hear
Still going in.
mixing records.
Yeah.
Because I love this that much. I just enjoy this process. I enjoy learning about it. I love the new technology. I love everything that changes, and I'm passionate about it. And I don't ever see myself not doing this.
Yeah.
So it's like
Facts.
consistency. That's literally it. 10,000 hours, that's a great concept. You know, you can become a master, but you got to put the time in. You got to
Yeah.
put the effort in, and you
Yeah.
got to continuously do that.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah,
know?
definitely. Man, trying to think what else. No, that was great. Pretty much there, honestly. Like bro, I could talk to you for like 5 hours, bro. But we got to keep it to we got to keep it to that.
I know how
All
it
right,
goes.
to wrap up, because this has been phenomenal. Thank you for your time.
No, for sure.
Do all producers only have Androids?
Oh, this is a bad conversation. Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, my head engineer, he's gonna be rolling about that one. I'm telling. Yo, everybody comes at me for my Android. So,
real quick.
okay, I am so anti-Apple everything. Here's my situation with Apple. Pro Tools was built on Apple's operating system, on OS X. It works
As I
better.
go on my iPhone right now.
It works better on MacBooks, period.
Okay, got you.
So I have no choice but to have an Apple computer.
I feel you.
They work better.
Got you.
Period. But I started in Android. Like, I stood in line for a G1 in 2007, like when the first Android phone hit the market. Like, I've been with Google since then. I had like Windows phones before then, and I just think they work best. I honestly like the flexibility of it, but they're not for everybody. What Apple does great is for the average consumer that doesn't need to know all the back-end stuff or, you know, additional settings.
Yeah.
It works. It does its job.
Got you.
You
Okay.
know?
All right, cool.
That's
cool.
it. I'm a blue bubble, man.
Yeah.
Fuck y'all. What is it? Green bubble.
Green bubble.
I'm a
Now,
green
we the
bubble.
blue bubbles,
My bad.
right?
My bad. I'm sorry. I don't know the terms. The damn green bubble. Just I get it. You know.
So what's next for Illusion? I know you got some educational shit happening. I know you got a whole bunch of stuff, but you can just try to plug that in real quick.
So right now, I've been in the educational space for a while, but now I'm going to be starting my first like in-person seminars.
Good.
So I do a lot of this stuff in session all the time. Artists always ask for information. Producers, engineers, I get phone calls every week just wanting more information, and so I'm like, okay, let me figure out a way to be able to provide the most value to a select number of people at a time and be profitable with it. You know what I mean? So it's a business like anything.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I love to share knowledge and information. So I'm doing these live in-person seminars now. I'm going to do them bi-weekly, covering a range of different topics. I was doing the live stream. I'm going to try these in-person things first.
Yeah,
see how that goes. The lesson
that's
plan
where it's
is
at. More intimate, you know,
Yeah,
more
and-
information, more valuable.
Then I'm going to push back on the YouTube and getting that content created for that.
Gotcha.
I manage an artist named Saint Loretto, pop artist. He's amazing. Kid's gonna be.
He's gonna be top notch.
He's gonna be a superstar, man.
Good.
I'm working on building a new facility and
Really? Rad.
renovating this one. I'm looking at properties right now in North Miami. This northern Dade.
We need another like well-established, like solid studio here in South Florida.
I mean, you probably haven't seen all the ones that we do have because we have hundreds.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, there's hundreds here. But the difference between
Hundreds of what? House of Dreams?
No,
or?
yeah, there's hundreds of studios just like mine. I mean,
Okay.
House of Hits, Bay 8, you got Rebel 11, you got the Hit Factory, you got Circle House,
Okay,
you got
yeah.
Audio Vision, you know what I mean? You have a lot of large format, A2F, let me not put them out there. You know, you have you have these different levels of studios. You have the large console, format studio, which is like huge board, the big far field speakers. You have like the more mid-sized studio, which is places like Bay 8, Mixmaster, where they have multiple rooms. They still have far fields, but they'll have like maybe one large room and a room, and then
Do you like the new studios with like all the bells and whistles, or do you still like to come here and?
So that's a great question. Honestly, I know the guys that do a lot of the building of the studios in Miami. So like the spaceship laser design is like the new in thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
It feels like a hospital to me. It does. Like you don't want to step anywhere, you don't want to touch anything. And it's like, to me, like when you're making music, especially with real musicians and guys that like, play, they like comfort, man. They want to feel homey. They want to feel like, rock and roll was made here, man. Like music was made here. And so I like the homey vibe personally. That's always going to be my thing. My go-to is somewhere comfortable where, you feel comfortable as a musician taking your shoes off,
Got you.
kicking up, putting your feet up, playing your instrument and making music. So when I do go to build this next facility, it's going to be a real point to make it as comfortable as possible.
Good, man. Definitely, man. Definitely
yeah.
want to check that out. All right. So before we go, top five producers.
Top 5 producers. Oh man!
And I know this is gonna be difficult for you because we
that's-
talked about it before. We were naming a whole
yeah.
bunch of, but this is rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
In no chronological order.
I mean, if I have to go off the top right now, I'm gonna go Timberland, Pharrell, Dr. Dre. I'm leaving so many people out. I need to throw a pop one in there. I'm gonna say Red One is one of my favorite.
Okay.
I'm gonna say one of my friends, just because I really genuinely love reggae, and he has made every reggae fucking hit that exists. Don Corleone, yo,
that's your boy.
Yeah, man, nice guy. He's gotten me a lot of gigs, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, he is. He has made so many hits that I grew up on, and I love that.
Can we throw in the Justice League? Can we do that?
Justice League. I know them too. I've met them personally on many occasions. They have a lot of dope records. I can't put them in my favorites. I can't put them in my favorites.
They're more niche.
Yeah, they're more niche. I didn't put Kanye up there because I put him in a whole different status. I can't even put Kanye in the producer conversation.
Just having some fun.
But yeah, those off the top I had to go. Pharrell's been impactful to me. Timberland, huge impact. Dr. Dre was a producer and exactly what I am, the engineer producer combo. He takes. You saw the Super Bowl. He came down on a console. If anybody watched, Dre sat on a console majority of the time there. And that's just a testament to the fact that that's where he feels at home. And what I love about Dr. Dre and what he's brought to the culture of music making. Not just hip hop, but to music making. And these guys are super impactful to me. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
They've really changed. Timberland, man, you just can't, the hits on hits, man. I love
Timberland versus Swiss.
Tim all day. I love Swiss, but I'm not the New York style of music.
Swiss is more niche.
Yeah. I wouldn't say niche. I would say that it's where you come from. You know what I mean?
I got you.
If you were, I'm an R&B head, man.
Yeah.
R&B is where it's at for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
And he killed those. So.
No, facts. Illusion, man. This has been great, man.
It's been fun. I love this.
Yeah, man. Give me all your IG handles and everything where we can find you.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
We'll wrap up.
Everything's at Mixed by Illusion, and you can catch me on the web if you're looking for a quote or studio time or anything like that. It's www.mixedbyillusion.com.
Cool, man. Definitely.
Yeah,
It's been great, man.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you,
man.
man.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Until next time.